The California Golden Bears enter 2023 trying to look to break into the postseason for the first time in quite a many years. And I think Justin Wilcox is the right man for the job, and this may very well be the team to do it. They do have to replace a couple key positions, including the quarterback room. However, there is a lot of talent on this team, and I think it's going to be a very talented unit. But there's one thing that could be working against them, and that is their schedule. So, will the California Golden Bears break into the postseason in 2023? Or are they going to yet again have to be watching the bowl games from their couches at home? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome to my channel. I'll be predicting all 133 FBS level college football teams this summer, which means I'm doing your favorite team. So hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when that video gets uploaded. But there are more ways than that you guys can always support my channel. You're doing one right now by watching the video, and you guys can do more by liking, commenting, subscribing, and really anything else to help support my channel. I always say subscribing instead of sharing. Share the videos as well with your friends and family if you would like to. But talking about the California Golden Bears in 2023, let's dive into it. But first, how do preview predictions work on this channel? I'm glad you asked. If you haven't seen one of my videos before, we go through a roster overview, take a look at who the team lost, who's coming back, and who's coming in through the transfer portal and recruiting class, as well as taking a look at the 2023 Golden Bears football schedule, giving it a good old game-by-game preview and prediction. So without further ado, I gave you the California Golden Bears in 2023. Again, like I said, that quarterback room is going to be looking different this year, as all the quarterbacks that threw passes last year for the Golden Bears are going to be leaving. Jack Plummer was your starter last year, threw for 3,095 yards, 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on 62.5% completion percentage. And then Kai Milner only threw 15 passes for this team last year, but he is also going to be gone. My apologies. I do believe Jack Plummer is going to transfer over to a new program. And speaking of transferring, you do have a couple very nice transfers coming in to help be options at quarterback for this team. Ben Finley comes over by way of NC State. He's a 3-star rated transfer. And Sam Jackson comes over by way of TCU, a 4-star rated transfer. My personal and humble opinion, I do believe Sam Jackson will be able to get that starting job. Would it necessarily surprise me to see Ben Finley get the starting job? No, not really. I just think that Sam Jackson is the guy well more equipped for the job, and I think that he will be under center to start for the Golden Bears in 2023, although Cal fans, let me know what the talk is around camp in the comment section below. In the running back room, DeCarlos Brooks and Damian Moore were your second and third leading rushers last year. They are both gone. However, your leading rusher does return in Jaden Ott at 897 yards on 170 carries and 8 touchdowns last season, as well as being your fourth leading receiver with 321 yards and 3 touchdowns last season, as well as getting some talented transfers coming in to help lead this running back room as well. Byron Cardwell comes over from Oregon, King Doru comes over from Purdue, and Justin Williams-Thomas comes over from Tennessee, all of them 3-star rated transfers. In the wide receiver room, you lose a very key piece in J. Michael Sturdivant, had 755 yards and 7 touchdowns on 65 catches. The catches and touchdown receptions did lead the team last year. However, your leading receiver in Jeremiah Hunter does come back. 60 catches, 965 yards, and 5 touchdowns from last season. Mavin Anderson and Monroe Young will also come back to this team as well. That was your third and fifth leading receivers respectively last season. But you are getting some transfers coming in. Brian Hightower is a transfer coming in from Illinois. A couple other transfers coming in, as well as a community college or JUCO transfer by the name of Marquise Montgomery, 27th overall rated player out of a JUCO or community college according to 24/7 Sports. Tight end wise, you do lose Kaliki Latu, but return Elijah Mojaro, who had 78 catches for you last year. Latu ended up having 207 yards and a touchdown last season, as well as getting some transfers coming in JT Byrne and Asher Alberding. On the offensive line, you lose Ben Coleman and Spencer Lavelle, but you return Brian Driscoll, Matt Sindrick, and I will butcher this name. I apologize sincerely. Saya Ape Vatakani comes back. I know I butchered it, so I apologize sincerely. And you get a transfer coming over in Martin Tyne. That's another JUCO community college prospect. On the defensive side, what can we expect from Cal next season? Well, on the defensive line, you do return a lot of nice talent. I will butcher this last name as well, but Ricky Correa does come back to this defensive line. Was the leading tackler on your defensive line last year with 37 of them. And you also are going to return guys by the name of Ethan Saunders, Nate Burrell, Jaden Roberts, among many others that I think are going to be really good for this defensive line this year. In the linebacking room, Oluwafemi Oladejo, probably pronounced it wrong. Again, I apologize. Was your fourth leading tackler last year, had 69 tackles, add a sack on there. He is gone. However, some of your sack leaders from last season do come back. Jackson Sermon was also your leading tackler and was third on the team in sacks with 3.5 sacks. Miles Jernigan had 4 sacks, was your fifth leading tackler. And Xavier Carlton kind of can play defensive end and linebacker. I stuck him here in the linebacker position just for room's sake. Led the team with sacks last year and was your 7th leading tackler. He does come back. Daniel Scott was your leading tackler out of the secondary, and he has gone at 85 tackles and led the team with 3 interceptions, as well as forcing 2 fumbles last season. But you do get some nice pieces back. Craig Woodson was your 3rd leading tackler. He comes back. Jeremiah Irby and Colin Gamble all return to the secondary, as well as getting a lot of transfers coming in. Patrick McMorris is coming over to this team, as well as Noel Williams. And then you get another JUCO community college rated player in Matthew Littlejohn. Patrick McMorris is coming over from San Diego State. That is a 4-star rated transfer, by the way. And then Noel Williams, another 4-star rated transfer, comes over by way of UNLV. So if you can find that production at quarterback, and a lot of these transfers are able to fit in the place, this Cal Golden Bears team has a lot of great talent on it. Your head coach is Justin Wilcox. Offensive coordinator is Jake Spavital. And your defensive coordinator is Peter Sermon. As we take a look at the Golden Bears schedule for 2023. Hey, you guys know how this works, but in case you don't, let me break it down. We're going to go through I already said that at the beginning. Talking about the schedule, any game that's underlined is going to be a game Cal plays at home. Any game in italics or the slanted text is a game they'll have to play on the road. If I highlight a game in green, Cal should be able to win easily. Any game in yellow is, hey, okay, the other team puts up a fight, but it's a game Cal, in my opinion, is going to win. And red, of course, is a loss. So without further ado, let's predict Cal in 2023. I think they'll start off nicely with North Texas. Was a very, very solid program. They've lost some pieces to the portal as of late in years. And I think Cal, again, is going to be a really, really talented team this year. So going on the road to play North Texas, and may give them a challenge here and there in some aspects, but overall should not be a problem at all for this Golden Bears team. But then you get a team in Auburn that I am really high on. Hugh Freeze comes in there. Peyton Thorne is transferring in at quarterback. They got a lot of very nice transfers all across the board. And I think Auburn is going to be a very, very good football team this year. However, again, this Cal team, it definitely has the ability to sneak up on people this year. So watch out for Cal. This is going to be a very, very dangerous team this year. However, I'm just a little too high on Auburn. I think I like the pieces they have more. Hugh Freeze, very good head coach entering. And I think he's going to get this program off to a very solid start here in year 1 with a lot of talent on that football team. So I think the Auburn Tigers go on the road and get the better of the California Golden Bears, although it would not surprise me to see Cal walk away with a win in week 2 against Auburn. But a nice bounce back game here against Idaho gets them back over 500. And then you get into Pac-12 play. Here is the difficult thing with California this season. When you take a look and you remember some of the teams I did first in the Pac-12 conference, you have to play really 7 of the, really in my opinion, the top 7 teams in the Pac-12 conference this year, and that is not ideal at all. You have to start on the road against Washington, and I just think Washington is going to be able to outplay Cal in pretty much every aspect. I love what this Washington team has offensively with Michael Penix, one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country, and the running back room is pretty good as well. When you take a look at the defense, yes, I know that secondary does have to improve. That pass game, or that pass defense has got to get better, but especially if that defensive front 7 can stay healthy this year, you're looking at a really good Washington team that can crash not only the Pac-12 championship, but the college football playoff. I don't think Cal's going to have much luck on the road with Washington. However, I do think they're going to have luck with Arizona State, and I think Cal's going to be able to beat them at home. Taking a look at this Arizona State team, Kenny Dillingham is coming in as that head coach, and while I do think he's bringing in a lot of very good players there, Drew Pine is coming over to be that quarterback. I don't think I've mentioned his name in a video yet. Probably just escaped my mind when I was talking about Arizona State for that specific team. Taking a look at Arizona State, again, a lot of very talented transfers. I just don't know that it all gels super well in year 1 under Kenny Dillingham. I think give it a couple years and Arizona State will be right back to being a hot contender in the Pac-12 conference. So Cal does win that game. Close one, though, as the Sun Devils put up a fight. And then when you come here against Oregon State, I think you end up dropping this game. Look, this is a game that Cal can win here as well, but I think Oregon State has all the makings and more to be a real sleeper in the Pac-12 conference, a team that I legitimately think can get to Las Vegas in a Pac-12 championship. DJ Uiagalelei is coming in there. They have some studs in the running back room led by Damian Martinez, and yes, they got some pieces to figure out in the wide receiver room and defensively, but I think by this point, Oregon State is going to start to get some things going, right? And in my predictions, I believe they are coming off a loss by this point. I think Oregon State's going to want to look to bounce back off that loss. It's a game that Cal absolutely can win, but I do see Oregon State making the play or two to make the difference in that game, and the Beavers walk away with a win. And I don't see Cal having much luck against the Utah Utes either. I think Utah's going to still be a very physical defense, even with all they lose. That's just the Kyle Whittingham style. And then when you take a look at their offense, Cam Rising is coming off a knee surgery, should be well healthy and ready to go by this point. A lot of great weapons on that offense there as well. But I think the strength and physicality will be able to overpower Cal as they have to go on the road, play a tough game, and they will lose to Utah. And I don't think they're going to beat USC either. USC may be one of the most talented teams and probably are one of the most talented teams in the entire country. Your Heisman Trophy winner and Caleb Williams comes back to this team. And when you take a look elsewhere across the board, this is one of the most talented offenses in the entire nation with one of the best offensive minds in the country in Lincoln Riley coming up. Not coming up, but being that head coach there as well. Defensively, yes, they have some question marks, but they have added a lot of depth this season, so it'll be interesting to see how that defense plays, but just on pure offense alone, USC is going to be able to demolish Cal here in this game. They're going to be able to run all over this Cal defense, and then I think Cal loses your fourth straight game on the road to the Oregon Ducks. Oregon has Bo Nix coming back. He's a Heisman contender at quarterback. Well, maybe not a front-runner contender, but definitely a Heisman dark horse for sure. And then when you take a look at this Oregon team elsewhere, yes, defensively some question marks, but they loaded up on transfers over there. They got some really good transfers coming over on the offensive side of the ball as well. I think Oregon's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year in Cal. I do not think it's going to have much luck on the road in Autzen Stadium. However, okay, after your 4-game losing streak that I'm predicting here, you sit back and you get a more than winnable game at home against Washington State, and I do think Cal is able to pull this one off. Cameron Ward is coming in at quarterback, but there is a lot of questions to fix about that defense for Washington State this season. Granted, they do have some transfers coming in to help replace some pieces, but there's a lot to be fixed on that defense now. They probably have a lot of it figured out by this point in the season, but Cal now in desperation mode. They already have their 6 losses. They need some more to end up making a bowl game, and I think this one here is going to be a nice win for Cal. I think whoever plays quarterback in that defense steps up and makes some plays, and I think Cal's going to be able to beat Stanford as well. Cardinal put up a fight, but quite simply, I think the Cardinal are going to be one of the worst teams in Power 5 this season. So Cal now 5-6. All you need is a win over your rival in the UCLA Bruins, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm sorry, Cal fans, but I do have the Bruins beating you, which leads me to a record of 5-7. Now, why the Bruins end up winning that game? They have many talented options at quarterbacks to replace Dorian Thompson, Robinson. Even though you lose Zach Charbonnet, Carson Steele comes in, very, very talented rusher himself, and the defense returns a lot of nice pieces as well. So I think UCLA, is just the better team than Cal, which leads Cal to a 5-7 record. Now, again, this Cal team, much more talented than that 5-7 record. It's just one of the many things on scheduling an opponent like Auburn in non-conference and then having to go through the gauntlet of the Pac-12 this season. But let me know your opinion on the California Golden Bears this upcoming season. Hey, that's going to do it for me here. I'll see you guys in the next prediction. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. Again, see all you guys in the next one. Goodbye.